how the word my changes everything. Well, it's very simply, we can display it in a very simple little example, which is if we had a board here and we put money down and we put sex down and we put relationships down, and everyone would have a reaction to those words. Yeah, a certain amount of meaning would develop in our seeing those words. And now, all right, let's weigh that. All right, so everyone would mean money and sex and relationships. But now let's say I had one little word and see what happens. So now you put my money, my sex, my relationships, and now weigh it. It's going to be a lot heavier than when it was just money, sex, and relationships. This is the act of being identified as, or the claiming, yes, which is the first big movement of selfing, is to claim. Because selfing doesn't have a life, it's never going to be a self. So how it shows it acts as if it is by claiming what you would call life, yeah? So a body now is my body, you know, activities are my activities, time is my time, thoughts are my thoughts, I'm the thinker of them or they're about me. And this simple word my denotes to me the incredible bondage of self. And the bondage of self isn't an event that happened, it's an application of mind. Yes? It's a verb. If the interest and attention is holding it in a certain posture, which is the assumed posture of, oh, that's about me, yeah, I'm doing that, then that just keeps reinforcing that bondage. And so life goes on as if we're a self. Yeah. And of course, it's going to be unsatisfactory for many people, and therefore the engine of seeking is constantly regenerated because it's constantly going to be looking for relief from the activity it's identified as. Yeah? It's very difficult to get relief from an activity that you're identified as because it'll be you who thinks it's getting relief, which is the identification as. Yeah? So self can never get out of self. No matter how far back you go, you're never going to be on the other side of the fence. As soon as self appears, you're inside that fence or that bondage or that pen of self. Yeah? So there was an old book called The Wisdom of No Escape. And really the wisdom is that there is no escape. Self isn't going to get out of self. But if you're actually not a self, see what's happening here a lot is people are trying to get into what they can't be out of, let's say the moment. Yeah? There's a lot of books about how to get into the moment. But that's assuming you could be out of the moment. Yeah? That's the only value that book could possibly have if it's based on a belief that you could be out of the moment. I don't believe you and I can be out of any moment that we're in. Yeah? So why am I trying to get into something I can't be out of? And then the other level, if you see people who have recognized, let's say, that quote-unquote self is the problem, there's more obsession with self with people trying to get out of self than there's anywhere else. Yeah? So the idea of so people are trying to get out of something they can't possibly be in. You cannot be a self. So the whole point of getting out of a self, if you can't be in a self, is being in self in a sense. Because it can only be an appearance. So trying to get out of self is the appearance of being in self. Yes? So this is just a simple, let's just turn it around. I don't need to get into what I can't be out of, and I don't need to get out of what I can't be in. It's much clearer and cleaner. It saves you a lot of time, first of all. At least to bookstores, anyway. Trips to bookstores. But see, mine may not like to save time. So it may not. See, it needs time to become. So there's nothing quite like a noble endeavor called the spiritual path for the ego, or like, I won't call it the ego, let's say the sense of self, loves that, man, because now it has lifetimes to become. It may take lifetimes of purification. Voila, I'll be there every moment. Great, let's go. I'm going to have to live 1,000 lives to finally get purified enough. Sign me up, man. That's a lot of becoming. So this is not about that. This is just a simple invitation. It's a possibility. Yeah.